I think some of the emotions that were portrayed in the play, sort of the tension that existed between the couple, her sort of coldness and emotional numbness, having come back injured from the conflict that she was covering, his feeling of guilt for not having been there when she was injured. It was things like that rang true for me, I think.
Well, in a different kind of plane in a way. I think for me it was the progression of Sarah's character from saying, I'm here to record life, not change it, to the point where she says something like, if the pictures aren't going to change anything, then what's the point? And I think that's something that, many journalists grapple with. If you're confronting a lot of really hideous and man-made horrors, that you are asking yourself, especially after a while, you might go there intending to bear witness, to be sort of pure in your intentions, and then after a while you can start thinking, well, bearing witness is not enough, because what we should be doing is trying to end this. So that might be why I left journalism and moved into human rights activism. Fiction just gives you the kind of freedom to address issues that are very difficult for people in the business to address very publicly. In particular, the photographer character has been very visibly wounded. The writer has been, just as badly, possibly more badly wounded, but his scars are not as visible. And it's difficult for journalists, especially those who wish to keep working within the business, to really come clean about all the effects, because even though I think editors now pay much greater attention to the kinds of ways in which the people working for them can be scarred by these stories, there still remains a reluctance amongst people to really open up, in part sometimes because of the way that editors are now much more careful about security, and also I think about mental health. There were actually times, for instance, during towards the end of the siege in Sarajevo, where people would, it was not uncommon for someone to say, you know what, I'm not going to talk to you. I don't. Why are you journalists still here? You don't do anything for us. I mean, obviously they didn't. They had a different sense of. They felt that we were there. That we were there to change things. They thought that our presence was going to end the war. They thought that once they could tell the world what was going on, something would change. So they also blamed the journalists. Some people would blame journalists when there wasn't. When the cavalry didn't come. Then people on the other side would often blame journalists for, as they saw it, sort of fomenting.
Maybe there was a shared innocence there. Maybe there was the innocence of the journalists thinking that their work was going to change things, and the innocence of the affected people thinking the same thing, and that innocence, became tired or jaded over time when dramatic results were not achieved. But I didn't give up, and I would always try and persuade people that maybe they couldn't see obvious results or benefits from the work that we were doing, but that it was still important that work be done and those things be captured and witnessed and transcribed and filmed and photographed.